Welcome everybody, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you for joining me. So this is a new series called New Music Finds. It's actually taking the place of an older series called Record Store Finds. That one had been more specifically related to, as it says, record stores, but as I pointed out in a few other videos, the record stores are getting fewer and fewer. They're also, if they do exist, they are selling off CDs. That is the main thing that I enjoy and like to purchase, and generally focusing on vinyl. And so it's getting harder and harder to actually have good finds at these record stores. So I'm opening this up and I'm making it a little bit broader, calling it New Music Finds. So it's going to incorporate not only my record store visits, but it'll also incorporate my online purchases, whether from like Amazon, eBay, Marketplace, specific record stores, band websites, all that sort of stuff. So this is going to cover all new music finds for me. It's a weekly series that I'm going to do every Wednesday, so check back, and it'll be all the different albums that I have collected throughout the past week. And before we jump into that though, if you're new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, do click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. And of course, as an added benefit, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this with New Music Finds. And kicking things off, so in my past couple videos that I've done for like What's That You're Listening To, you would know that I've been on a Canadian music kick, and so I've been fleshing out that catalog and picking up some additional things. Like this April Wine, it's called All the Rockers. It's a compilation. It's got 17 tracks, but as it states, it's all the rockers. So I like April Wine and I do like their ballads, but it is just great to completely rock out start to finish for over an hour long. Great collection there. Highly recommend that one. Another Canadian band I've been talking about is Streetheart. So I picked up another compilation of theirs. Part of the reason I'm picking up these compilations, one, I own all the albums that these bands have already done. Another one being Harley Quinn, is that I didn't grow up with these, so I don't know the hits like somebody who had listened to it on the radio when these songs were popular at the time. So I like listening to the collections and learning the songs that way. Then when I put on the albums later on, and one of those tracks comes up, it's more like it's a hit. It's more like I grew up with it because I'm recognizing it from other listens and stuff. So that's why I picked up the April Wine and this Streetheart. And then, of course, as I pointed out, this one here, the Harley Quinn, another greatest hits. All of these on the major labels that the bands had come out with at the time. These compilations are the original ones. It's not like newer ones. I generally like the original compilations that were put out by their original labels and the ones that they supported when they were a band. Another great Canadian band, Tease, and this is one album I didn't have of theirs called Body Shots. So this one here was the final album that these guys did before they broke up, and I finally completed my collection by adding that in. Another Canadian band that I really like is Toronto. They're kind of famous for having written the song What About Love, which of course became really famous and popular, having been covered by Heart. But the band that actually wrote it is Toronto. Now, Toronto chose not to record it, and the two members in the band who had written it wanted to record it, and since the band did not, they put that out there as a song that somebody could cover. Heart chose it, and of course had a #1 hit from it. So, you know, what if Toronto had actually done that song? Would they have had the success? Who knows? But if you like Heart, that's what Toronto is like. They have a female vocalist, Holly Woods. In particular, the solo album that she did, Assault and Flattery, does have the Toronto name on it, but it was just a Toronto in name only, because otherwise it was just Holly Woods by this point. But picked that up too, and you can see it's still in the plastic. It literally just arrived today, so I haven't cracked into it. When I'm done with this, that is what I'm going to be listening to. And one of my subscribers pointed out Ian Thomas Band. I have this on vinyl and haven't listened to it in years, and didn't actually know that this artist was Canadian, but when they reminded me of it, I immediately had to go out and order it, so I did. I got it. It came last night, and I have to say, I'm really enjoying it. It's not quite what I remember or what I would have expected, but opening track, Just Like You, followed up by the second track, Sally, just fantastic. Something a little different there. That's on Wounded Bird. I really like the Wounded Bird label. And the next label, and I've talked about this label a lot, Rock Candy Records. I've got a whole slew of these here that I've been picking up recently. So also in one of my last videos, whether it be the music store finds or what's that you're listening to, I've been sort of getting into a funk rock kick. Not full-on funk, but the stuff that definitely leans more towards the rock. And I've always heard of these guys, Mother's Finest, but I never picked anything up. I never checked them out because I always thought they were a straight-ahead funk band. But at least on this release here, this is full-on rock and roll, almost heavy metal. Yeah, funk band. Starting off in the 70s, this is, of course, Rock Candy Records, so they do really great booklets and everything. This one here is called Iron Age, came out in 1980. I sampled a bit of it and just fell in love with it immediately. I've got some more Mother's Finest on the way that I'm going to be checking out. So next week you'll see the rest of the Mother's Finest catalog and stuff like that. Now this is a band I didn't know anything about, but because it was on Rock Candy Records and it just got reissued, Strife, their first album Rush and their second album, the follow-up Back to Thunder. 1975 these guys came out. They're a power trio and just really good stuff. I don't really know how to describe them. There's a lot of comparisons to Rush and stuff. They're definitely prog. They've got 8 and 10 minute long tracks and stuff like that. But I would say they're definitely in the 70s rock vein. They've got a little bit of a punk influence to them. 2 different vocalists. But check them out if you can. They're available to stream. I really, really like it. It was kind of a surprise. I was just picking it up because it's one of the things that has been reissued by the label. And just fantastic stuff. Here's another cool one though. Group called Wildlife and their only album Burning. But the reason I picked this up is if you guys know the band FM, this features 2 members that would go on to form that band, Steve Overland, the vocalist, and Pete Jupe, the drummer, as well as Chris Overland, the guitarist, Steve Overland's brother. So actually 3 guys from FM started Wildlife. Really great stuff. If you like FM, they sound just like it. Fantastic. So I picked that up. Just good AOR type stuff. Another one, the group 707 and Megaforce. This was actually done for a movie soundtrack, and apparently the movie didn't do all that well, and so they didn't quite get the publicity they wanted out of it. But probably their hardest record and most commercial in my opinion, because they ranged everything from mid 70s early classic rock style on up to almost 80s metal kind of stuff here. But this band featured Kevin Chalfant on vocals, who would go on to front The Storm, which was a Greg Raleigh project, had members from Journey in it, and so that's where I knew Kevin Chalfant from. And it also had, who else was in this? This also, this had Todd Howarth in it, who of course came from Ace Frehley's band. So, a couple cool members in here worth checking out just for that alone, but great music. And then I picked up 3 Survivor albums. I've always had this collection behind me here. But I never actually owned any of the Survivor albums, so I just started picking them up. Vital Signs, of course, Can't Hold Back, High on You. I mean, probably their biggest, most popular album, biggest seller at least. Eye of the Tiger being their biggest hit. But second album, Premonition, I actually really like this one. It didn't do well at the time, but it's a little different style. It's a little more rock than the AOR type stuff. And then When Seconds Count, another just really good one on here. How Much Love, the opening track on that I really like. Every one of their albums, 2 or 3 really big hit songs are on it, kind of a thing. So if you buy one of their albums, it's not like you're going to get something that's completely unknown. Survivor was just one of those bands that always had hits, kind of a thing. All right, so I mentioned sort of being on the funk kick. So I picked up some Jacksons, separate from the Jackson 5, as they got a little older and they changed labels to Epic. They had to change their name from Jackson 5 because Motown owned it, so they became the Jacksons. Picked up a compilation for the same sort of reason I mentioned earlier, so I can listen to these things and hear what were the singles, what were the hits. But this thing here, I love these things, these 5-album collections. They come in sort of replica vinyl style, paper sleeves, thin sleeves. But I pick these things up because sometimes, in this particular case, 3 of these albums, the Jacksons, Going Places, and Destiny, those are out of print. So the only other 2, Triumph and Victory, are in print. So for 20 bucks, get 5 of these. And even though I'm actually replacing Triumph and Victory with the box set, I'm getting those 3 albums that I couldn't get any other way. If those get reissued with bonus tracks and stuff like that in jewel cases, I'll pick them up, but for now at least I've got them and I can listen to it, so checking that out. One of my other record store finds, I found Kula Shankar and their album K, but when I was going through it, I realized that none of their albums actually had the one song that I knew by them, which is the song Hush, the Joe South cover song, also made famous by Deep Purple. Turns out it was off of a soundtrack. I think it was off of I Know What You Did Last Summer or something like that. But it's on their best of. So this is called Collected, and it's their best of. It's on there, so I went ahead and ordered that to get that, so at least I have the track that I do know and love. And finishing on some Jay Giles. Again, previously I was getting into some Jay Giles and the sort of funk sounds that they do as well. And I had picked up a couple best ofs of theirs and just really fell in love with them and never really listened to the Jay Giles band before, so I've been filling out my catalog. Well, the next one that I was able to dig up was Freeze Frame. That's an eBay find. A lot of these, when I can't find them off of Marketplace or at my local used record stores kind of a thing, got to go to eBay for them. Picked up Golden Earring and Cut. This one made famous for their hit in the 80s called Twilight Zone. This album here was 1982. This was the song I knew them from, but of course Radar Love from the 70s and White Lion made that song famous. So I knew 2 songs by them, but I wanted to pick up that album because it's got the one hit that I know. And I like to oftentimes, even if it's only got the one hit, I want to hear the whole album start to finish on it in context to the one big hit that I know and see how much else I like the album. And I gotta say, I'm really digging the Golden Earring stuff, and I'm digging into some other albums by them. This one was a funny find. Okay, so I'm going to record stores, buying from online, all that sort of stuff. I went into my local Rite Aid. For those of you that don't know what a Rite Aid is, it's a drugstore. Here in New York City, went into a Rite Aid, they were selling CDs. $7.99, the Angels Australian band Greatest Hits collection, of which I don't own a Greatest Hits, buy them. And I was just so surprised that not only would they have CDs, but they actually had something that I wanted. So that was a pretty cool find. I found it on a Friday, made for a really great evening coming home with some snacks and a new CD. So I've gone back. They haven't had anything else worth getting, but that was fun, at least for the moment. All right, Jean-Luc Ponty, I've been talking about him, especially with the Yes review that I had done recently of What's That You're Listening To and all the related projects. John Anderson does an album with Jean-Luc Ponty, so it's the Anderson Ponty Band. And I've got a bunch of Jean-Luc Ponty albums, but again, best of collection. I wanted to just hear what is considered the best of his. So I've been picking up a lot of best ofs for those reasons, because I already own all the albums. And when I own all the albums, sometimes I want just a little bit more, or I don't really want to put on a particular album. I want to hear an overview. So I've been going back and fleshing out collections or of my collection with best of albums and things like that. And being on that prog kick, I was getting into Genesis and some Steve Hackett. And so this album here, Guitar Noir, I had to order this one from Amazon UK and have it imported and brought over here. But I was able to get it. Otherwise, it's an out-of-print album. I got it for 15 bucks, despite having to import it from the UK, including shipping. So that was a pretty good deal. All right, and the last 2 things I've got here, which I totally did not expect to hit me the way that they did. Mountain. I picked up a best of Mountain and Leslie West's solo album. He's the frontman, guitarist, and vocalist for Mountain. So his 1969 solo album was called Mountain. It's actually what, they took the name from to form Mountain. And, I've had a couple of the later releases from Mountain, but I didn't have any of the stuff from the 1970s. And everybody has covered Mississippi Queen. I know that song, but I never really listened to it by Mountain. So I just, checked them out, and I have to say, this stuff is really, really good. So I've got a box set of their first 5 albums from Mountain. It's on order. It comes tomorrow on Thursday, so I'm super excited for that. I got a bunch more things coming for this weekend that I'm going to be checking out over the weekend. It'll probably have an effect on my What's That You're Listening To thing. But for now, that is my new music finds, those 25 albums for the past week. Got a bunch more stuff on order coming in, and I'll review that with you guys next Wednesday, so make sure to check back for new music finds every Wednesday. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. I hope everyone has a great day, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye, everyone.